Hi, my name is Chris Louie, and I will present on the article, The Transformation of Retirement in 20th Century America, From Discontent to Satisfaction by Melissa A. Hardy. Here's a quick overview of the retirement changes. From being single breadwinners to dual income families, from being mostly male to experienced by both male and females, from working 55-hour work weeks to having paid vacations, holidays, and sick leave, from retiring a few years before death to retiring as much as 19 years before death, from being forced to becoming an expected and welcome part of the life known as the era of retirement, from dependency to independence. In the beginning of the 20th century, there was traditional gender successions for our roles in life. Girls were students, then homemakers, and finally widows. Boys were students, then workers, and finally retirees. The employed were those with a job, the unemployed were those without a job but actively seeking work, and then there were those that were out of the labor force. Students who were usually young, homemaker and caregivers who were women. The disabled worker was usually a middle-aged former worker with severe impairments from their job, and the retirees. The length of the working life had a direct correlation to poverty because once an individual stopped working and making profits, they became dependent on their children to survive. Improvements in public health and the establishment of childhood vaccinations reduced infant mortality and death to childhood diseases. Children were now surviving to adulthood. Therefore, life expectancy began to increase. At the turn of the century, a white male could expect to live until 74 years. By 1998, his life extended to 80 years. Between 1949 and 1959, family incomes grew by 43%. Poverty rates dropped by a third. And although poverty still existed, the standard of living was greatly increased. These were due to changes in the second half of the century, and they included the Social Security program in 1935, beneficiaries being added to the Social Security system in 1939, the Revenue Act of 1942 encouraging employers to offer private pensions to employees, the Social Security Disability Program being added in 1954, and finally, Medicare was added in 1964. There was a transformation in the labor force. Retirees were no longer the workers who were impaired by their job or old. Because of these added benefits, individuals could now financially retire at younger ages, while still healthy so they could continue living independently with additional funds to enjoy their lives. Most women outlived their spouses. Therefore, they were now not only pulling in their own Social Security, but they were also supplemented with spousal benefits. Social Security was created over 75 years ago in response to the Great Depression, single-earner households, and when only 5% of the U.S. population was 65 and over. Social Security was not intended as a retirement program, but many retirees rely on it for 90% of their income. Future cohorts will get back less than do current beneficiaries. The current Social Security system will be able to pay full benefits only until 2033, after which they will only be able to pay out at 75%. In the past, raising the payroll tax by 2% greatly improved the financial state of Social Security. Retirement became separate from being out of the labor force, which previously meant being either disabled or old. The transformation of retirement also went from a time of being forced and dependency to a time of enjoyment and leisure activity. The downside of retirement was its promotion. The health of the U.S. economy has become dependent on retiree expenditures, which is based on the retirement benefits. With the baby boomers beginning to retire, we often wonder if there will be enough retirement benefits in the future. The future of retirement depends on if we stay with the same system as the second half of the 20th century or if we overhaul the system. Without change, future retirees will see their retirement as a loss due to the government not having the funds to supplement as they did in the latter part of the 20th century. I thought the article was easy to read, interesting, and informative. The two items I noticed which could be considered weaknesses were: the author wrote as if the reader had a clear understanding of what Social Security is, which may not be the case, and the article does not inform us what happened to individuals with low socioeconomic status. Here's a question to think about. The Moody book gave us some suggestions that could help the Social Security system, such as lowering benefits, raising the age of retirement, discontinuing the annual cost of living adjustment, and to raise payroll taxes. What are your thoughts? Thank you so much for listening, and I've added my references. Take care. Bye.